I forgive him. Probably the most important thing we heard. Maybe the worst thing Jasmine Crockett has ever said, and the gruesome murder that you will not hear about. Welcome to the J. Sheldon Show. Happy Monday. Yeah, another week has started. We are here. We are live on Rumble and X. And if you haven't yet done that, please hit the follow button. Appreciate it. It's free for you. Sign up for a free account and off we go. Danny, good morning. Great to have you along for the ride here. And yeah, we got a lot going on. There's a whole bunch of stuff to cover in the news and in the world, but mostly here in the United States of America. Oh, man. Almost 100,000 people gathered together at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, yesterday in the memorial, which I know a lot of you watched live, for Charlie Kirk. Vice President Vance, President Trump, a lot of speakers paying tribute to Charlie and to his followers. The event organizers have estimated there were over 100 million viewers to the stream, the live stream. 100 million. Featured worship, calls to continue Charlie's legacy. Danny says not happy about Trump's speech. He seemed to make it about him, and I was cringing, thinking, shut your mouth, man. Yeah, I slightly did have that same feeling, actually, when I was watching the president speak. If there ever was, it certainly was a time to, for less about him and more about Charlie and the amazing work that he did. The other thing that at first kind of ticked me off was this. Hang on, let me just mute that because we don't need the music. Here we go. You see the fireworks? I thought, what is this? A WWE event? The fireworks just seem to be totally inappropriate. Well, give me a second here because I bookmarked it. There you go. The fellow who was, he's like the president of Turning Point USA, spokesperson, whatever, he's a bigwig, Andrew Colvett. He wrote this, and suddenly it made sense to me. Good morning, Marilyn. Because our staff, somebody wrote and said, why the fireworks at the memorial for Charlie Kirk? And he said, because our staff loves this effect. They see it as one of our event signatures. And most importantly, because Charlie loved it. We do not grieve the way the world grieves. We refuse to let the evil that killed Charlie rob us of our joy in remembering his life and his legacy. I guess that kind of made sense. It's because it was an effect that Charlie loved, an effect that they use often at their events, and so they wanted to continue that. It did seem a bit odd for me. But by far, the most incredible moment of all the people who spoke, of all the things that were said, this moment is one that will stick with me forever. I do not know where this incredible woman gets her strength.
Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Wow. That woman has more strength and more Christ in her heart than anyone I think I know. I cannot tell you that I would ever, ever, ever have done the same. I'd like to think that I would, or that I could, but I just don't know. As Danny says, she's a better Christian than me, that's for sure. That moment, just a few seconds of her saying, that young man, I forgive him, was absolutely remarkable. And the most amazing moment of that entire event. Erica Kirk. Wow. All right. You saw all the videos. They're all out there, all the speeches. Hopefully you watched a part of it live. It was on X, which is where I watched it. An amazing event. 100 million people worldwide watching. 100,000 packed into the stadium. And probably another 100,000 waiting outside, knowing they would never get in. And yet they were there because they wanted to be there. They wanted to be a part of it. The tide has turned. Not a pun, we have reached a turning point. And it's a good one. It's a good one. I saw posts all up and down X. People saying, I went to church today for the first time. Or the first time in a long time. I got baptized today. I rejoined my faith. It was absolutely remarkable. Yeah, Danny says I was hoping to see his parents and sister speak. I wonder why. A good question. I would guess probably because it was just too emotional for them. Likely that was the reason, or, but yeah, I guess we all grieve in our own way. So, all right. Let's move on, shall we? As we will never forget and continue to remember Charlie. The spectacular self-destruction of Kamala Harris. I don't know if you remember, if you're that old, but Jim Hellwig was probably one of the most famous men on the planet. I'm guessing probably less than 5% of the people watching would remember the name. He had enormous muscles, flowing locks. After flopping as a bodybuilder, he tried his hand at professional wrestling. His first few gimmicks, Jim Justice, Blade Runner, didn't exactly set the world on fire, but he did catch the eye of the WWF and the owner, Vince McMahon, when he wrestled in a Dallas promotion under the name of the Dingo Warrior So, rechristened the Ultimate Warrior, now from parts unknown, Hellwig was tapped to be the next Hulk Hogan, the larger-than-life cartoon character who won all of his matches, sold astronomical amounts of merchandise to little kids and rather immature adults. Well, on April 1st, 1990, the Ultimate Warrior defeated Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. Winning the WWE would be an amazing world title. 67,000 fans were in attendance. For a few months, all was well with the world. The Ultimate Warrior, the most popular warrior and wrestler in the industry, and his future was as bright as the paint on his face. And then it all unraveled. His matches were god-awful. He demanded more money. His attitude sucked. He was rude to kids. He failed a steroid test. And eventually, he was fired. And then, things got really strange. To protect his intellectual property, he legally changed his name to Warrior. Tried to sell Warrior-themed comic books, including one where he did naughty things to Santa Claus. Very briefly toured colleges as a conservative pundit. The WWF and the WWE blasted Hellwig to smithereens in a 2005 documentary dubbed The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior, an astonishingly mean piece of documentary footage, which was a cautionary tale about a man given the key to the kingdom on a silver platter, but because of ego and arrogance, horrible decision-making, lost everything. For Kamala Harris, you'll wonder why I told you this story. It was the presidency or nothing at all. The ex-vice president of the United States of America, her sights set on the White House, and absolutely nothing less was acceptable. Being the next governor of California, please, if she wanted that job, she had a wide open path to Sacramento. Nobody in California could have stopped her. But she swiped left. Being the governor of the largest state in the country, that's beneath her. She launched a book hoping to stoke the flames of grassroots excitement. Everything was meticulously planned in advance. She'd leak the excerpts 10 days ahead of time, get people talking, hit the media rounds, touring the country, shaking hands, kissing babies. But in all my life, I have never seen a candidate with worse timing. It wasn't her fault. Kamala just naturally snake-bit. On the same day she leaked her uncut excerpts, Charlie Kirk was murdered in Utah. And almost immediately, her meticulously planned comeback was completely forgotten, for obvious reasons. She began September 10th on page 1, fully expecting to dominate the run-up to her September 23rd book launch. Everything in place. But after the tragic, unspeakable death of Charlie Kirk, she went from the lead story to way in the back of the bus, which was really a big marketing problem because there wasn't a pre-existing demand for Kamala Harris's tell-all book. No one was whispering to their buddy at the neighborhood bar I'm dying to know about what Carmela thinks about XYZ. I can't wait to hear her side of the story. Instead, she needed those extra days to drum up any kind of interest at all. Her first leak was about Joe Biden's brain turning to mush. Short version, she knew Biden's age was an issue, but she thought it would come across as disloyal and self-serving if the VP were to ask the president to leave. And that's fine. The cover-up of Biden's mental decline was a scandal that had to be addressed, and her answers kinda sorta towed the line between being a good liberal, Democrat team player, while also being minimally observant. She is the modern day ultimate warrior. And I don't get it. None of this was necessary. And it couldn't have been a reaction to her recent media blackout, which was a desperate ad hoc attempt to recapture attention after her promotional runaway was taken away. The contents of her book were put to bed months ago. Because either way, she did it. Cruel, bigoted, cold-hearted way she described her process of choosing a running mate. Mr. Charisma, Tim Walz. That was a self-inflicted wound that would bleed her dry. Her name ID kept afloat for a while, but in the long term, she's done. Remember, she was trying to appeal to liberals. And if you're going to win the 2028 Democratic nomination for president, they are the only demographic that matters right now. And for someone like Kamala Harris, who already had national name recognition, personal relationships with most of the top DNC donors, all she needed was to do is capture the grassroots. If she had those, she would be done. Game, set, match. And now they are gone forever. Sorry, Kamala. Didn't work out the last time. Ain't working out this time. The other person in our government these days who just can't keep her mouth shut and just doesn't seem to have an IQ somewhere around room temperature is this absolute idiot, moron, Jasmine Crockett. I'm telling you, folks, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Before we do that, though, you know what's in this cup? Yep. Blackout coffee. Rise and grind, America. Kickstart your day with Blackout coffee. They are more than just a brew. They are fueling freedom. Our small batch premium beans roasted to perfection right here in the good old US of A. Delivered bold, rich flavor, never bitter, that hits hard. Now look, whether you're a patriot, a hustler, or just crave a killer cup of coffee, we got you covered. From the Morning Reaper blend, decaf, pods, instants, cold brew, and now, by the way, if your excuse in the past was that you don't have a grinder for your beans, look at this. You can pick ground, just like that. Yep, they will grind your beans for you. They've got merch over there. It is very cool. Their flavored coffees are unbelievable. So good, cinnamon French toast, blueberry crumble, chocolate cherry climax. The list goes on. Blackout coffee. Make sure you use the link down there in our show notes and pick up a bag. Give it a try. You'll be back for more. I know it because it's just that good. And use the code J20 at checkout for 20% off your first order. JAY20 at checkout for 20% off your first order. And if you are a repeat customer going back for another round, make sure you still use that link in our show notes so we get the credit for your visit. Blackout Coffee, an all-American company that believes in our values. They support the First and Second Amendment, the right to life, religious freedom. Blackout Coffee is an incredible American company. John and the gang over there, John Stamos. Santos. Stamos. Different guy. Anyway, Blackout Coffee, we love you guys. Thanks for helping to support the show. Moron of the day, moron of the week, moron perhaps of all time. Jasmine Crockett. One of the most vocal people in the Democrat Party. But that doesn't really help because she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. And that's not good for the Democrats because she has been embarrassing the entire Democratic Party with ridiculous comments for a long time, and she continues. You saw her before saying, just because you commit a crime doesn't make you a criminal. Well, she's now claimed that illegally entering the country isn't a crime. She said Kash Patel was the least qualified FBI director because it was the only FBI director who hadn't had prior experience with the FBI, which, just like nearly everything that comes out of her mouth, is not true. Most have not had any prior FBI experience. She even claimed law enforcement wasn't about preventing crime. This is the most insane thing you will ever hear. Listen to this crap.
I want to be clear that, law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, okay? That is what they're supposed to do. They are supposed to solve crimes, not necessarily prevent them from happening.
Yeah, okay. So law enforcement, police officers, okay? They're not supposed to prevent crime. This woman is a fool. At the end of the week, she even tried to imply that Charlie Kirk's alleged killer was MAGA because of a report from his grandmother that the family was MAGA. But her most disgraceful comment may be what she said about Kayla Hamilton during the House Judiciary Committee's discussion about passing an act in her name. Hamilton was sexually attacked and murdered by an illegal alien member of MS-13. Crockett blasted Republicans for putting the name of a, random dead person on the bill. Hamilton's mother, Tammy Nobles, had a few things to say about that on Fox and Friends on Friday.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett sparking outrage for appearing to dismiss the murder of 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton, who was killed at the hands of an illegal immigrant in 2022. The House was debating a Republican-led bill named after Kayla when the Congresswoman made these comments. Listen.
You take a situation and then you exploit what has happened to not only that person, but you exploit those families and you make it a game. Stop just throwing a random dead person's name on something for your own political expediency.
Joining me now is Jeff Gaylor, the sheriff in the Maryland County where Kayla was killed, and Kayla Hamilton's mother, Tammy Nobles. Thank you both so much for joining us. Tammy, what was your reaction when you heard the Congresswoman describe your daughter like this?
I was really furious because you just don't call a victim of a crime just a random dead person. No victim should be referred as a random dead person.
Nope.
We were there. I mean, they were there discussing her bill, and and what she said was really nasty, and it came across as racist.
Tammy, what do you remember the most about Kayla from when she was a little girl?
She was a she was a very happy and energetic child. She loved unconditionally, and she just loved to enjoy. She enjoyed her life. She lived each day to the fullest. She loved going to church. She loved God, and she really cared for animals and the homeless.
So, as you can see, this was not just some random dead person. She said she hoped Crockett might take in the words of Hamilton's mom and think twice before dismissing a beautiful young girl who turned into a beautiful young woman, created in the image of God, as just a random dead person. By the way, the Kayla Hamilton Act is aimed at closing loopholes in the handling cases certain unaccompanied migrant children, and will help to do things like check for gang affiliations of suspects. Why Jasmine Crockett still has her job is beyond me. And the nutcases just keep getting worse and worse and worse. This nutcase, an Oberlin student. My sister went to Oberlin, but I guess that kind of figures. Enough said. Nutcase Oberlin student insanely favors more political assassinations. Psychology Today defines sociopathy as a pattern of antisocial behaviors and attitudes, including manipulation, deceit, aggression, and a lack of empathy for others. Sociopathy is a non-diagnostic term and is not synonymous with psychopathy, though the overlap leads to a lot of confusion. Sociopaths may or may not break the law, but by exploiting and manipulating others, they violate the trust that human enterprise runs on, which is pretty good, if not a bit critical definition. But for more enraging examples, we can refer to one Julia Zhu, XU, at Ohio's Oberlin College. In the wake of the assassination of Charlie, this person stated that what the U.S. needs is more, not fewer, political assassinations. Yeah, she actually said that. Radical leftists at Oberlin calling for political assassinations to continue in the wake of the targeted killing of Kirk last week, according to a post she made online. We need to bring back political assassinations, said Julia Zhu in a social media post where her handle is @BringBackTheGuillotine. Now, this is a person who, frankly, has got to be watched. If there is not an FBI agent with an eye on this leftist moron idiot, something is wrong. Now, it's not clear what the social media handle of Bring Back the Guillotine refers to, and there is no such user anymore on X. But some background on Ms. Zhu. She grew up in Connecticut, my home state. Second-year student at Oberlin in Ohio, majoring in politics and international affairs. According to an online college blog viewed by the Post, which has since been taken down. They're slowly trying to erase this woman. She's on the advisory board of campus group, the Gender, Sexuality, and Attraction Initiatives, an office that supports the queer, trans, and women's programming at the school. She uses they, them pronouns and is a member of the Students for a Free Palestine group. She made these comments about Kirk last week after being given 5 minutes for hot takes during her Revolution, Socialism, and Reform in China class. Look, folks, this is a very clear picture of a young skull full of mush, gone full woke, wacko, lethal leftist. So far, you're likely to find her type anywhere, and that's scary. She's taking a class in Revolution, Socialism, and Reform in China. Well, maybe she should try going to China and see how things are there for herself. She explained she'd learned that after the 1949 Chinese Revolution, Mao had decided people deserve free speech, but there should not be free speech for revolutionaries and imperialists and capitalists, because that would reverse the project made by the revolution. Mao, that's her role model, Chairman Mao. His policies and actions resulted in the deaths of tens of millions of Chinese people by bullets, by starvation, hanging. Now, she may very well be a young skull full of mush, but this, folks, is the face of our opposition. Strip away the left's nice public talk, and that is what you get. Now, I don't doubt that Julia Shu is saying what all too many of the left already thinks. Rights for me, but not for thee. Rudeless willingness to unperson anybody who disagrees with them. Consider what a government run by people like Julia Shu would look like. Many more just like her. They're just not saying the quiet part out loud. Somebody better be keeping an eye on this woman, because this is a clear and present danger. And they're going to continue to quote you bits of absolute crap. There is a study out there that the left is using, and it's absolute bunk. That study that they're using about right-wing violence is absolutely full of fake data. This from the Federalist. Antifa-connected researcher with a rabid bias against the right, held out as an expert on deciding who is extreme. After the assassination last week, conservatives noted most political violence comes from the left, obviously. The left bristles at the fact, responds by dramatically padding the numbers to pretend the reverse is true. September 12th, a piece from The Economist that claimed extremists on both left and right commit violence, although more incidents appear to come from right-leaning attackers. Now, right up front, this report, this news article, admits it used data largely compiled by researchers who skeptical conservatives would probably dismiss as biased. Readers would be beyond skeptical of the source of this piece. The Prosecution Project, their website claims to track and provide analysis of felony criminal cases, including illegal political violence, terrorism, and extremism occurring in the U.S. since 1990. The founder and executive director of this Prosecution Project is Michael Lodenthal. The links in the website's leadership, now broken. Friday, meaning no names visible. Google had not yet scrubbed Lodenthal's name from the searches. He is an openly anarchist, Antifa-related researcher at the University of Cincinnati who, by his own admission, is a far-left, violent extremist. So this data that these people are relying on for their information that more violence comes from the right is an Antifa-connected researcher with a rabid bias against the right. And we're supposed to believe anything this guy says? Unbelievable. These are the people who are presenting these facts that you're getting out there. Perfectly insane. What is not insane, however, is you making the switch to Patriot Mobile, a 100% Christian conservative mobile service provider.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
There it is, patriotmobile.com/JJAY. They have a little bit there on their website about the show and a form you can fill out for more information, but here is the deal. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 100% U.S.-based customer service means the people you are talking are right here in our country. They understand your needs. They are not there to upsell you some package you don't need. They're there to save you money and get you easily put into a new package. In a lot of cases, you may very well even save money. Unlimited talk and text, U.S.-based support, guaranteed coverage, supports our values, the First and Second Amendment, the right to life. They support our first responders, our military. It is America's really, truly only Christian conservative mobile provider. You need to be using them for your cell phone service. Just head over to the site. It is easy. patriotmobile.com/JJAY or call 972-PATRIOT, and you can use the promo code JAY, and that will get your first month free. Yes, your first month is free when you use our link and get signed up as easy as 1, 2, 3. patriotmobile.com/J. Thank you, Patriot Mobile, for helping to support the show. And thank you guys for getting signed up. Lots of you have done that. Appreciate it. Did you see the thing about the dire wolf? If you're into these kind of things, like I am, I don't know how you could have missed it. Months ago, they announced and showed pictures of, allegedly, a dire wolf. Dire wolves have been extinct for a long time. But this company, which has been doing some absolutely incredible work, has now said they have a major breakthrough de-extincting the dodo bird. Oh, yeah. Colossal Bioscience. That is the company that claims to have resurrected the dire wolf. Now, technically, they didn't. They did produce a genetically modified gray wolf, which are not even in the same genus as a dire wolf. And now Colossal is back in the news again. Don't get me wrong, I love this company. But it's a matter of, well, kind of semantics. And they have some other genetic irons in the fire. One of those aimed at bringing back the extinct dodo bird, which also they likely can't do. Now, that's not to say that they aren't doing some absolutely amazing work. The other day, they did announce a neat little breakthrough. Scientists at the Texas-based company made a major breakthrough towards reviving the dodo bird 300 years after it went extinct. Colossal Biosciences announced Wednesday that researchers had, for the first time, successfully grown pigeon primordial germ cells, which is the precursor cells to sperm and eggs. So they are well on the road. Their avian team's breakthrough in deriving culture conditions that allow pigeon primordial germ cells to survive long-term is a significant advancement for dodo de-extinction. Very cool. It is a breakthrough. Now, not an insignificant breakthrough. But just to be clear, same with the dire wolf, and I hate to burst any bubbles. Believe me, my bubble's already been burst badly on the dire wolf. But these are pigeon cells. And while pigeons and dodos are related, it is a very, very distant relationship. What this is liable to mean is that, much like with the dire wolves, whatever Colossal produces will simply be a genetically modified pigeon. Same way that the dire wolf is simply a genetically modified gray wolf. They have said they wanted to try and de-extinct a woolly mammoth. Again, these will be modified examples of the woolly mammoth's closest living relative, the Indian elephant, which again is not the same genus as the woolly mammoth. So I even hate to say this, but the truth is, it's all a bit overblown. I love the idea of the dire wolf. And they kind of are dire wolves, bringing back the dodo, bringing back the woolly mammoth. It's headline grabbing, and I love their work, and I pray they continue. But technically, it's not really the same thing. So, I don't want to burst any bubbles, but I guess I kind of just did. Jay, what is the matter with you? 5,000 meals a day, this guy claims. And now he is guilty of fraud. Abdullahi Nur Jessau, 65 years old, became the 56th defendant to plead guilty in the massive Feed Our Future fraud scheme. That according to acting U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson. He was one of 11 defendants who have been charged in the U.S. v. Hassan. The group, the SNS Catering Company Group, purported to run food program sites, including on Lake Street in Minneapolis, Minnesota. On the very day we secured our 56th conviction in the Feeding Our Future fraud cases, we also brought the first wave of charges in the housing stabilization fraud scheme. I'm proud of the extraordinary work our prosecutors, federal agents, and law enforcement partners who are working around the clock to expose these crimes. But the truth is, they should not have to. Minnesota deserves better. They stole and then laundered $17.4 million in federal child nutrition program money. That money was supposed to feed hungry children during the COVID-19 pandemic, or plandemic. He pled guilty to money laundering for his role in the scheme, set to proceed to trial before Judge Brazel. One defendant now remains in that trial. This moron operated a federal child nutrition program site called Academy for Youth Excellence. Academy for Youth Excellence purported to run a site and serve meals out of Benedier Hall, a banquet hall located above SNS Catering. He was listed on the site application for Academy for Youth Excellence that scheme leader Amy Bach submitted to MDE as December 30th, 2020. They were supposed to provide the food for the site that was to serve and deliver food to children under the federal food program. Instead, they stole it. $17 million. Basically, taken out of hungry kids' mouths. Lock the key and lock them up and throw away the key. Disgusting. Jay, I got you, says Danny. Lady at my gas station I was talking about her crazy Verizon plan, told her about Patriot Mobile and she was interested. I said, if she does, let me know. I can get 1 month free. Well, I hope so. Good luck with that. A gruesome, horrific murder that I will bet dollars to donuts you haven't heard a damn thing about. The White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, highlighted just another example of an atrocity that is going to be swept under the rug by the mainstream media because it was committed by an illegal immigrant in a sanctuary state. Marvin Ortiz Montesinos, an illegal immigrant from Guatemala, accused of killing his girlfriend, Victoria Aparicio Cruz, and their roommate, Yaneth Gomez Hernandez, in Burien, Washington, earlier this month. Both women murdered. This 29-year-old suspect, who has a wife and children in Guatemala, stabbed the two women dozens of times in this gruesome attack. Charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder with a deadly weapon enhancements in connection with the deaths. According to the charging documents, he's accused of using a fillet knife to stab his girlfriend, Cruz. And the details go on. They are too gruesome to even read here. Prosecutors allege that an hour before the attack, Ortez Montesinos complained about Victoria breaking up with him. Gomez Hernandez, roommates with the couple, found naked with a towel covering part of her leg, according to the documents. It appears victim Yaneth, the defendant's roommate, was violently and cruelly murdered simply for trying to intervene. The document states both women's neck wounds were so large and deep, it appears the defendant was trying to slice and saw at his victims, not merely stab them. ICE, of course, has filed an immigration detainer for the suspect. Spokesperson saying Ortez is alleged to be one of the worst criminal aliens who pose a threat to our community. Last month, the Justice Department identified Washington as a sanctuary state, and because of its policies and laws and regulations, they completely impede enforcement of federal immigration laws. This guy is in custody, but fair warning, it's a sanctuary state. He's an illegal immigrant. And because of all that, this story has been completely swept under the rug. This is likely the first time you've ever heard of it. And it should have been national news plastered across every headline. But it's not, nor will it be. We need some good news, friends. We need some good news. Okay, I got some for you. How about a 9-year-old boy who saves both of his parents when a tornado sent their truck flying into the trees? Take a look at this little hero. That is exactly what he is, a hero. Rodgers and Hammerstein wrote famously that at the end of the storm, there's a golden sky. At their home on the range, an Oklahoma couple are beginning to see that golden sky beyond the stormy nightmare that forced their 9-year-old son to try and save their lives after a tornado overtook their car and left them both with very serious injuries. Back in April, when the tornadoes were reported to be en route to the hometown of Wayne and Lindy Baker, it was on their evacuation path to shelter in Dixon, Oklahoma, that disaster struck. Seeing the tornado a mile or so off, it suddenly changed directions and overtook the Bakers as they drove down the road in their Ford pickup, sent the truck smashing into the ground before a tree fell on top of it, pinning the front seats under the weight. Inside, Wayne and Lindy suffered broken necks, backs, ribs, and arms. But in the rear seats, 9-year-old Branson, through the grace of God, remained unhurt. He got out of the truck, ran a mile down the road in pitch black darkness because of the power outage from the winds, until he found a house with people inside that could help. Wayne's brother Johnny on the phone with Wayne at the moment the tornado hit them. I heard a ding-ding like a hail or rocks, hitting the windshield, and then a large crash, and the phone went dead. Johnny and his partner rushed to the scene, but with so much debris, live power lines along the roads made for some very slow going. The truck so mangled by the incident, it wasn't clear to Johnny if it belonged to Wayne until he heard the screams from inside. Shortly after, Branson, who had run a 10-minute mile, returned with a neighbor, and together they did what they could to help Wayne and Lindy before 911 arrived to transport the parents to OU Medical. The last thing Branson told them was, "Mom, Dad, please don't die. I'll be back." He had to become his parents' Superman. And that is exactly what he said. I have to save my parents. Wayne, Lindy, contractors, and those injuries left them not sure about the future ability to earn a living. A friend of the family set up a GoFundMe to pay for the medical bills, replace the truck. So far, they've got about $100,000 in their GoFundMe. The boy admitted he was very scared, and both were clearly still enduring the trauma, the parents. Wayne said, "I couldn't be more proud to be a father. Son that can accept a challenge in that way shows he would go above and beyond for anyone." In July, an update on the GoFundMe, the organizers revealed Wayne has made a substantial recovery and was able to return to work, while Lindy was removing her back brace but is going to require a second surgery on her right hand. As parents, a lot of times we are afraid our kids are going to grow up too quickly. Forced into traumatic circumstances, there is no doubt little boy Branson has done a lot of growing this year, and it is the kind his parents can be very, very proud of.
Now to our ABC News exclusive with a 9-year-old boy who saved his parents when their truck crashed during a tornado. We spoke to him and his father. Lara has the story. Hey, Lara.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable story, George. So imagine being 9 years old, your family truck crashes, and you see that your parents are trapped inside and they're injured. It would have been understandable to be frozen in fear, especially because they were in the middle of a tornado. Instead, though, this little boy acted quickly and he saved their lives.
I was really, really scared.
This morning, 9-year-old Branson Baker dubbed a hero after helping save his parents' lives when they were caught in an EF4 tornado.
Oh, we got a tornado right in front of us!
The storm tearing through Oklahoma April 27th. Branson and his parents, Wayne and Lindy Baker, racing for safety, driving to their friend's storm shelter.
We could pretty much see the tornado within about a mile, 2 miles away from us. But as we turned, the tornado turned itself.
The tornado uprooting a tree, hitting the Baker's truck full force, trapping Wayne and Lindy. But Branson able to escape, running over a mile to get help.
As soon as I went to go get help, I said, "Don't die."
Branson sprung into action really quick. He's a very courageous son. For a 9-year-old boy, not many adults would have done what he did.
Wayne's brother, Johnny, was on the phone with the family as the collision happened.
About that time, you start hearing some dinging on the glass, like maybe hell, and then boom, and the phone went silent.
Johnny rushing to the scene, calling 911. First responders arriving, and Branson returning with help. Wayne now recovering from back, neck, and arm injuries. His wife, Lindy, still in the hospital. But it's little Branson's heroic acts in the spotlight, doing everything for his mom and dad.
You couldn't be more proud to be a father of a son that can accept a challenge that way. Shows that he would go above and beyond for anyone.
Man, I told you we needed some good news, and there he is. Branson, all the best. We need more Bransons. We're done, folks. Thank you so much for popping by. We'll be back again tomorrow for the Tuesday edition. Be sure and hit that follow button. It is free. We're live both on X and here on Rumble. Wherever you may be, or both, hit them. Follow the show, and we will see you all tomorrow.